What would she say? Asher says quietly. Kyle hears him. What should who say? Kyle asked, confused, as Asher looks at Kyle. What owe it, Leo? If he hurt you, Asher stops Kyle. What, no, I just. Kyle looks at Asher, confused. Just what? Asher sighs. I want to tell my mom I'm gay. But scared and she'll get upset. Asher spoke quietly. Kyle, well, fuck her, you're 14, you can't control who you love. Kyle pats Asher's back. Leo has a boyfriend too, so I have no chance with him. Asher hits his head on the desk softly. Oh, come on, that doesn't mean anything. Game is. Asher glares at Kyle. Don't finish that sentence. Game is not game, plus that's what perverts say to kids. Kyle nods. Yeah, you told me. Asher looks back down. Well, maybe I should just move on from Leo. Kyle looks at Asher, shocked. What? Come on, man, Kyle says softly. Asher rolls his eyes. Yeah, I know, but it's all I can do. Asher puts his head in his hands. No, you're gonna tell him even if I have to make you. Kyle flicks Asher's nose, but Kyle interrupts him. No buts today, end of class. Fine. Asher agrees. He knows Leo's going to reject him, but it was whatever at this point. It's better than just staying silent and watching Leo with his partner. The class felt like it went on for not long enough. Once the bell rings, Asher gets up and leaves looking for Leo. Asher finds Leo next to his locker. Asher takes a deep breath and walks over. Leo, we need to talk. Asher says quietly, his voice shaking slightly. Hey man, what's up? Leo looks at Asher, confused. I like you, and not like some childish like, but I have feelings for you, and I have since we met, and I know you have a boyfriend. But I just need you to know, talks fast, his voice shaking, his knees feel like they're gonna give out on him. Leo stares at him with a blank expression for a moment before Leo sighs. I'm sorry, Asher, I don't feel the same. Asher's heart breaks into 1,000,000 pieces. He knew that he would get rejected, but hearing the words come from Leo made it hurt so much more. Asher nods and just walks away. Leo calls out for him, but Asher didn't listen. He didn't know how to feel. He just wanted to be home, but yet again he didn't want to be home. He didn't want to have to deal with his mom. He wanted to be anywhere else but at school, so he decides to skip the last few classes in the bathroom. Asher walks into the bathroom, takes his bag into a stall with him, closes the door and locks it. Asher knew people would think it was gross, so he had his bag with him, but he didn't care. He just sat there. He didn't understand what he felt. All he knew, he felt hurt. He didn't understand anything else. He didn't understand why he didn't answer Leo when Leo called out for him. When he left, Asher sits there with his own thought, running and running. The first bell ring. Asher continues to wait in the bathroom. He didn't want to go to the last period either. Once the bell rang, Asher got out of the bathroom, put his bag over his shoulder and started walking out. Kyle ran up to him, tried to ask how it went. Asher's mind was foggy and he didn't really understand what to say. He doesn't like me, man. I told you it was stupid of me to even tell him. Asher snaps at Kyle. Hey, calm down, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. Kyle says, confused, not understanding why Asher was mad. Can you just leave me alone? Asher yells. Kyle stops walking. He looked kind of hurt. Asher walks out of the school, not paying attention to anyone, and walks home. His mom wasn't home at the time. She was probably at work, so Asher went up to his room, collapsed on his bed, and he ended up falling asleep. He didn't know how long he was asleep until he heard his alarm go off. It was the next day, time to go to school. Asher didn't want to go to school. He wanted to skip. He wanted to be anywhere but there. But he knew his mom would be mad if he didn't go. Asher gets up, gets dressed in a black t-shirt, black parachute pants, and a black and white checkered flannel.
Asher goes to school. The entire day was just horrible. Leo wasn't even at school. This wasn't normal for Leo. Asher thought that he just upset Leo, and that's why he wasn't there. Maybe Leo had switched classes or something. Also, Asher was avoiding Kyle. Asher felt bad for yelling at Kyle, but he didn't know how to apologize, so he just avoided him. He thought it would be the best idea. The school day ends, and it was just like any other. Asher walks home. His mom wasn't home. Flops on his bed, but he couldn't fall asleep this time. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't, so he gets up, grabs his notebook and a pencil, and just starts drawing. It was little doodles like smiley faces, tears, some stuff like that. Eventually his mom got home. Asher locks his door. He didn't want to deal with her soon. 1 a.m. around. Asher was still awake. Asher stayed up that whole night just drawing in his notebook. He had gone through 4 pages of drawings, not a lot, but when there's tiny doodles, it seems like it. Asher gets up. He had dressed into a baggy t-shirt and some shorts that went down to his knees. He heads off to school again. The days started feeling like they would repeat, but this time it wouldn't. This time it would be the worst day of Asher's life. Kyle walks up to Asher at breakfast and sits next to him. Asher went to get up and move, but Kyle grabbed his shoulder tight. "Why? Don't avoid me, please," Kyle said in a very quiet tone. He seemed hurt, like he was about to start crying. Asher sat down. He didn't dare to make eye contact. "I'm sorry I made you upset that day. I'm sorry I made you tell Leo that you like him." Asher slowly looks at Kyle and gives him a small smile. "It's not your fault." "I'm sorry I was avoiding you." Kyle smiles and gives Asher a big hug. But then Leo's boyfriend walks up to Asher. Great. Asher thought he's going to have to get into a fight. He knew Leo's boyfriend was protective, so he already knew what was going to happen, or so he thought. "Hey, I know we don't know each other that well, but something happened and I think you need to know," Todd said quietly, like he was about to cry. This made Asher nervous because Todd was the tough kid of the school. "What happened?" Asher says curiously. "Leo is dead," Todd says quietly. Asher's mind starts racing. Was a prank? Was some sick joke? What if it was real? Was Leo really dead? "What do you mean?" Asher spits out. He was stuttering. It was hard for him to get the words out. "He died a few days ago in a car crash. It was on his way home," Todd explains. Kyle grabs Asher's hand as a way to comfort him, but Asher stands up and runs. He ran out of the school. He didn't know why any teacher didn't follow him, but he just kept running and running. He didn't stop until his legs gave out. Asher falls onto the pavement. His hands were scraped, and so were his elbows, but he didn't care. He starts bawling, his eyes out. His vision becomes blurry from the tears. He starts to hyperventilate. It felt like he couldn't breathe. It felt like he was going to die, just like Leo. Asher backs up into a light post, leaning against it. He starts hyperventilating faster and faster. He grips onto his shirt tightly. He closes his eyes, squeezing them as tight as he could. His ears start to ring.
The only thing he can hear was the sound of running footsteps. Asher opens his eyes slowly to see Kyle running towards him. Kyle almost falls just like Asher did, but he quickly picks himself up. Asher was still hyperventilating and crying. He couldn't even talk. Hugs Asher tightly, holding him against his chest. Hey, calm down. I know, but you need to breathe," Kyle says, trying to calm Asher down. Asher hold on to Kyle tightly. Asher could smell the cologne that Kyle uses. It was comforting. After about 10 minutes Asher calms down. He was still crying hysterically, but he wasn't hyperventilating. His head was spinning, his throat hurt, his eyes burned, and Kyle just held him tightly. "It's okay, I'm here," Kyle whispers over and over to Asher. Asher just hold on to him. Asher calms down kind of quickly. Also, something seemed weird. He felt what the childish people would say, butterflies. His heart was racing. He didn't know if that was because of the panic attack or something else. Did Asher like Kyle? No, this was a bad time to think about that. How dare Asher think about liking someone else when his only crush just died? That's when Asher hears a very quiet whisper. "I love you. I know it's bad timing, but I love you."